legislative advisory public specifying the time and place of the city council reports with the open public meeting. The annual notice is mailed to the Times and the Trenton County newspaper will be posted on the first floor open board. The city hall will follow the city clerk's office on July 1st, 2006. The agenda for this meeting was mailed, posted, and filed on March 30th, 2007. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Present. Here.
Here.
Here. Here. Assuming that Ms. Stevens will be having talked to her, I assume that she will be here. Just for the record, Stevens are being fulfilled with prosperity from Mr. Harris. Thank you, Mr. Harris.
Of course.
Okay, we're at the 5 o'clock portion of the meeting. Request for a refund of alcoholic beverages and drink alcohol and the jury locker. Special counsel.
This is Cloud Paul.
When we get ready to talk about
Sent a letter requesting a refund of a license fee for 2005, 2006, and 2006, 2007. She did pay the fees in both of those years. However, the licenses were not issued because of the ongoing litigation. Just to give you a chronology, in February of 2005, we revoked Clara's license. In February 17th, after the revocation, they appealed to the director of the ABC. In June of 2005, they paid the renewal fee for the license. Keeping in mind, we had revoked the license. However, in September of 2005, the director stayed the revocation of the license. They stayed that, but they suspended the license pending the appeal. Then in June of 2006, they paid the 2006-2007 renewal fee. In August of 2006, the director affirmed the revocation. In October of 2006, they requested a stay of the revocation pending an appeal to the appellate division. Later in October, the stay was denied by the director, and then in November, they withdrew the appellate division appeal. So what's at issue is the license fees for 2005, 2006, and 2006, 2007. Now, although we had revoked the license, the director stayed that revocation. Therefore, their license was suspended. Well, for the order of the license to be suspended, they had to have a license. Therefore, they should have paid the renewal fee, and we should have issued the license, and the license would have been issued but suspended. That would have carried through the next license year, which is 2006. When they paid the renewal fee, the director did not affirm our revocation of the license until August of 2006, when that license should have been renewed. So, it's my recommendation that we not refund the money because they actually had a license that was suspended during the applicable time period. The license was not revoked until the appeal was finally denied. But it's your pleasure.
For the record, JPAL trading as Clara is the institution, the establishment that was laid out on Broad Street, that we had many issues with legal and many reports that we had to do with dating back to 90, go back as far as well, I've been here since 2000. But they've been closed. Well, they've been closed. How long?
We revoked it in February of 2000.
They have not been open for 2 years. 2 years. But they paid the fees.
They paid their fees, and we did not issue the license. However, we should have issued the license, and it would have been a suspended license that would have been issued. Because they chose to appeal, and the director gave them a stay of the revocation. So they actually had a license that was in a suspended state.
Okay. Based on ABC directors,
Denial of the revocation.
Okay, what did you refer to the state?
Director of the ABC. So all he did was he stayed the revocation, allowing them to appeal, but he also suspended their license so they couldn't operate pending that appeal. So all it really did was cost them $4,000.
and that's what they're going to refund.
And that's what they did.
Any questions by Councilman Smith? Mr. Constable, Mr. Kidd, yes ma'am?
Mr. President,
Yes ma'am.
just want to be clear that at some point they did have a license?
They had a license that was actually issued for the 2004-2005.
And they're requesting a full refund?
A refund of 2005, 2006, and 2006, 2007.
No. Oh, you not voting?
No, no. Well, at least we know your position, so. Mr. Malone, yes sir, you've been around a little while. Yes sir.
That was back in 1996.
That's what I thought. I remember back in the meeting. Any questions, comments? You know?
No.
No, okay. Mr. Segura, yes sir.
No, sir.
Ms. Stegman, you privy to our conversation? Okay. Saying that there's a recommendation, on behalf of the city attorney not to fund the $4,000 to JCal in the form of a motion to do something. I'm sorry, yes sir, Mr.
Point of clarification,
Yes.
you're saying that we do not.
That's correct.
Okay.
Keeping in mind that we never issued those licenses, formally issued them. However, they should have been issued and suspended.
But was approved anyway by the state director's agency, although they were.
Yeah, they were in fact, they stayed our revocation, but suspended the licenses pending the appeal. Consequently, they had to have a license to have them suspended.
Correct. During that time which they're asking for the rebound.
Yes. The point of view is no, right?
Yes.
It's yes.
Yeah, that's what I was.
And it's yes because you want,
I guess
Yes,
for the no vote
because
here tonight.
I'm recommending that you not return them.
so I'm voting yes to push it whether it is.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes ma'am. I need a motion, anything else?
No.
All right, I want to make a motion for an executive session with regards to personnel issues, involving the council aid position. The motion to do so.
Before we go into executive session, I
Yes,
want to
ma'am.
be sure that I asked for the tapes from the initial meeting. Are they available?
I don't, matter of fact, I didn't know you asked one. You know, clerk office?
Yes. I left a message. That means you don't have it, that's my question. And the second part of it is I want to copy the letter from the department, from Jane Brando.
From who?
Jane Brando.
Oh, okay, I thought you were coming like, you ain't changing anything?
I think
I
I
have
said
a
Jane
motion
what?
for, we have a motion for executive session. All in favor?
Mr. President?
Yes. Can we,
Well, my other question is, can this be an executive session just between council initially and the attorney?
well, I asked the personnel officer to bring
I don't want
whatever.
anybody to do that, if you would, please.
For the officer.
The attorney and the clerk,
Okay.
for the record.
Let's clear the room for 1 second. Let's clear the room. Question matters to discuss in executive session. So we're back on the record under unfinished business.
Stop mumbling. Tell him, girl.
Law and respect. Just passed a couple of notes that
Slow down.
Scarlet ranked the playing for a national championship this evening. So I understand we want to see that game. We won't expedite the matter, but we'll try to be sure. Thank you. Thank you. Madam Clerk, yes, ma'am.
What happened to,
That's one page on it. Yeah, one page for the record. Please move on.
Move it again.
Second. Anything under communications and petitions? Second, communications and petitions? Okay. Reports. Oh, for the record, before you go to, while you check the reports, I believe the letter was forwarded, Mr. Carbone? I believe the letter was forwarded to Mr. Al Cerrone, dated for his appearance today. Is there anything why he's mayor with regards to Mr. Cerrone's request and council's approval or support of that request to have him made this evening with regards to the parking requirement? I believe that letter was sent out well over the weekend.
Thank you, Mr. President.
And this copy of that available. This copy of that letter available. So, for the record, I'm assuming no one knows. I'm sorry, yes, sir.
No. Go ahead.
I would say that no one knows or has heard why he's not here or has not been able to provide any information to us. At our next meeting on Tuesday, we can vote on the receipt for parking. Reports.
Actually, Mr. President,
Yes, sir.
back up to communications,
Back up communications, yes, sir.
on the addendum 2AD.
2AD. That's on the addendum, you said, correct? 2AD. 2AD?
2AD,
Oh.
your last page,
Gotcha.
actually. Just to bring council up to speed on this, this was a request from
You said AD as in dog or AD?
AD, the last page.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Okay. Just to bring council up to speed on where that's coming from. That's from that letter and discussion that we had back when we had the workshop in regards to taxi cabs, and the recommendation I had, since we cannot mandate municipalities to withhold renewal of licenses to cab drivers in their city for violation of any ordinances outside their municipality. I believe that's the second municipality now that has communicated with us. In that correspondence, I believe it states that Ewing is looking forward to working with Trenton, but has requested additional information as far as any violators they may have in their municipality that we have already ticketed or found guilty of violation of our city ordinance.
You're talking about trying to put something that would mesh together?
Not meshed together. If you recall my comments and the letter that I CC'd both the clerk and the council on, requested the assistance of the neighboring municipalities in considering the non-renewal of licenses for cab owners in their municipalities that violate any laws. Just like on your registration and your driver's license application, it says, has your privileges been revoked in any other state, that a line be added to their application stating, have you violated any laws in neighboring municipalities regarding taxi cab licensing? And, since we can't mandate them, we ask that they be sure that their businesses do fall within the laws of neighboring municipalities prior to licensing them. Thus far, we have received 2 support letters, and I thank those 2 municipalities. Now, I note that they are requesting information from us. Have we supplied them the information they are requesting?
I don't know. Check that.
Yeah, that information has gone out.
We have, okay, because I recommend that we do fulfill their requests since they are looking to work with us in addressing the problems that we're having here. So that's just to bring the council up to speed where we're at on that. There are 2 other large municipalities I would hope would respond that we also have some problems with their taxi cabs, but thus far we haven't received correspondence from them.
So we're talking about Hamilton and Lawrence? Correct. Okay, thank you, sir. Nothing in the communication notifications, reports. Nothing in the reports, applications of mine.
You'll notice on that resolution that the licensee has signed the resolution that they are agreeing that the renewal is subject to those conditions.
Romeo from Trenton City Cafe. 5AR resolution authorizing the award of a contract to PH2 in Hill of Parsippany, New Jersey for professional engineering services for the Trenton Water Quality Report for the Department of Public Works for utilities repair and open process in accordance with NJSA 19:42A-22 and second. Amount not to exceed $25,800.
Yes, sir.
Could Mr. Jackson give me for the record, when there's anything to deal with water, I don't know why it's in my mind.
Bathroom, get in the hole. Mr. Jackson, yes, sir.
This is a contract that we put out to bid, and this for engineering services, and CH2 and Hill had provided these engineering services to the water utility to assist our engineering staff to produce and publish a water quality report meeting the standards of the DEP. It's something that we do annually, and put out a publicized report on our water quality.
Okay. And Mr. Jackson, do the administration summarize this for the public and posted it in the newspaper about the quality of our water?
We have it in the brochures. I believe it also goes on the website.
It goes on the website? Okay. Perhaps maybe in the tax bill?
I believe we can look at doing that. Or in the water bill, within the water bill, to the water bill. I will say on the water bill.
Thanks so much stuff on the water bill. Thanks for talking about both rates.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, sir.
Let's go back here, yes,
I
ma'am.
just wanted to ask how close are we to having that bill paid on that?
Speak up, sir. Yes, ma'am. I'm sorry, I can't hear you. Yes, ma'am. Speak up.
How close are we to having our bills paid electronically or not?
Is that a capability that we have now?
We will be looking into that this year to have a number of fees paid online, including taxes.
5ER resolution accepting bid and awarding contract to AHP Electronic Inc. of Columbus, New Jersey to provide alarm, closed circuit TV, and access control systems, installation and maintenance for the Department of Administration.
It's like my, when you're looking at it, have this stuff installed there.
This is all around the city,
Around
it's in city property.
Okay.
5ER resolution accepting bid and awarding contract to Mobile West of Collegeville, Pennsylvania to furnish and deliver one 2007 Ford E-350 cargo van bucket lift unit to the Department of Public Works and Infrastructure and Transportation. 5ER resolution accepting bid and awarding contract to Armando's Construction Inc. of Columbus, New
what is it specifically going on over there? Specifically?
This is gonna be a reconstruction of the intersection at those addresses, named by the court, where it will, the center island will be removed and will come to, will be referred to almost as a T-section, on the signalization and new sidewalks in the immediate vicinity, to make it a safer intersection. We have a lot of, near accidents and accidents at that intersection, which is an improvement to the, traffic flow.
Resolution authorizing the utilization of competitive contracting and new public bidding for the furnishing and delivery of wireless internet to the city of Trenton. FR.
Who's doing this wireless? Who's doing the wireless?
Yes, yeah, go ahead.
Who's doing this?
This is to enable the city to bid this out under competitive contracting to install a wireless network in the city to provide, among other things, communication and internet access.
James, is this going to go to, like, a company like Verizon?
It's going to go
Or
to,
just open?
and it's going to go to a company that will set up a mesh network within the city at their own cost.
Yes, ma'am.
5FR resolution accepting bid and awarding contract solar light electrical contractor for New Jersey for the furnishing and delivery of all labor, materials, and equipment for the East Hanover Street traffic signal replacement, East Hanover Street, Montgomery Street intersection, for the Department of Public Works Division of Traffic and Transportation, in the amount not to exceed $158,624. Resolution accepting bid and awarding contract to R.E. Carroll of Trenton, New Jersey for the furnishing and delivery of expensive 1-inch senior water meter replacement like magnetic drive, cold water meter registration for the Department of Public Works.
That sounds exciting.
In an amount not to exceed $33,058.
Yeah, that's the, light right here by the twilight.
HR resolution authorizing payment for a contract with Waters and Busby, Inc. of Hamilton, New Jersey, which will be awarded on an emergency basis for the installation of domestic and fire line service on Broad Street in Trenton, New Jersey, in an amount not to exceed $40,580. IR resolution authorizing the acceptance of a memorandum of understanding for fiscal year 2007 between the United States Department of Justice and the United States Marshal Service and the City of Trenton, New Jersey Police Department to provide funding for the Regional Community Task Force.
One question though. Is this also part of, I know it's still had it running, is this also part of the effort that we have with the Sheriff Department and all of that stuff?
It is, it's with the regional task force. It's basically, excuse me, to pay overtime expenses for one detective.
So but this guy, is he gonna work, with our effort, with and through the same thing that we do, with our task force?
Yes, he will be our representative on the task force.
JR resolution canceling permits and authorizing the direction of Attorney P. James Henry in the amount of $2. KR resolution canceling certificate of alcohol compliance application and authorizing the direction of Attorney P.
Mr. please.
President, I just wanted to get a reason why we decided to waive instead of to go. I mean, eventually, it makes sense.
Why we decided to wait instead of just I don't think we could anticipate that the housing authority will ever have enough money to pay costs that are deferred. In fact, one of the main reasons why this request was made was that they this past year received only 86% of the funds that they normally receive for HUD. And it waives it only for 1 year, not for next year. To revisit. It doesn't waive it perpetually, it's just...
So, Mr. God, let me just make sure I understand what you're saying. You're saying based on information that you're aware of, the housing authority, due to cutting its funding, unable to pay the package.
Essentially is unable to pay this, the amount that would be due to the city, as well as unable to pay for other things that they would normally pay for. This was all part of the reduction in force that they had, some time ago.
Is this taxes in whole, or is this taxes for a quarter, a couple quarters, or?
This is the payment of the tax for that year.
For the entire year?
That was the entire year. That's been our full obligation to the city for the entire year. And this resolution proposes to waive it just for that year, not for succeeding year.
510R, resolution authorizing the award of a contract for a fair and open process in accordance with NJSA 19-2025 as set to HDR Engineering Inc., Trenton, New Jersey, to provide on-call consulting services in the areas of business and financial services management, including but not limited to revenue and collections, business process improvement and meter billing, collection, and customer service, rate setting, and financial analysis for the Department of Public Works for the utility, an amount not to exceed $75,000.
Mr. President, if I may quickly.
Yes, ma'am.
Moving that along. As we begin to look at our workforce and in our MOET program, I'd like to ask that we reach out to some of these schools for kids who are interested in becoming engineers. I'd like to see more engineers in the city of Trenton. That's all progress. And the only way to do it is to begin to prepare the workforce for it. And that's not to suggest that there are not engineers in the city. It's just that engineering is one of those professions that people typically avoid because they think it's difficult and they want to do fun things. So I'd like to ask that we encourage, even at the high school level, students to become involved in engineering as it relates to the work that's done in the city. Thank you, Mr. President.
5OR, resolution authorizing the award of a contract to a fair and open process in accordance with NJSA 19-2025 as set. Trenton, New Jersey, to provide newspaper legal notices to the Trenton in the amount not to exceed $25,305.
Roll call, room.
Paper we could use. Trenton, the only paper in the city?
I don't think so.
I know.
Start a newspaper.
God, that's a lot of money.
5PR, resolution authorizing the amendment to the contract to provide awarded to a fair and open process in accordance with NJSA 19-44A-2025 as set. The law offices of James A. Amaba of Turnersville, New Jersey, to provide professional legal services in the amount not to exceed $75,000.
Whatever happened to that? Locker available? You said pull that in front of you? Pull that? We have roll call.
I knew you were going.
And, what are your plans?
Do we have resume on file? I want to see one.
On the way home, he said. Hey, Joe, you know that 3 pieces coming. Okay. You need it. There you go. That's what I'm about. Give me all that. Just quick.
Ordinance vacate any and all public rights relating to the portion of Woolly Alley. On RO ordinance,
I'm sorry, yes, sir, Mr. Costin.
Get an update on this project?
Which one is that, sir?
Just 5 and on mine, but apparently it's 5.
5QR? Wait, wait, wait. I'm sorry, I'm not following you.
Woolly Alley.
Where is Willie Allen?
Is that the one that Mr. Stevens called for? Which one was it? You talking about Willie Allen?
Yeah, where is Willie Allen?
That's the word.
Try to find out how we're doing.
Whose name was on that one?
Vacate the public rights.
Mr. Bowers.
Yeah. The ordinance with respect to Willie Alley is an alley between Lamberton, goes from Lamberton to Center Street, and it is has been intended to be a part of the Canadian project.
Okay. So we're vacating that, and making that a part of the public.
We're vacating that, and that would be a part of the Canadian project. And we are proceeding with the acquisition of some properties by way of condemnation, and some properties we have come to agreements on. There are 2 properties that are still being negotiated, and I think we'll come to an agreement on. Ultimately, I think the condemnations will only be 4 or 5 at the time.
I'd like to take a couple, I guess, properties that we bought.
It was 727, 737, and we were about to close on 729, and we're negotiating 739 with the other place.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Costin. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Let's,
5RO ordinance authorizing a lease between the city of Trenton and Eva
together.
property regarding 335.
Most of these ones coming up, ladies and gentlemen, for the members of the council, you all already know, for gardening in the city of Trenton that we do every year, which sites within the public property to plant vegetables in the city.
5FO ordinance authorizing the lease between the city of Trenton relating to the use of vacancy on property for gardening, 104 North Ridge Avenue.
Can.
5FO 5DO ordinance authorizing the lease between the city of Trenton and J. Davis for the use of the city's vacancy simple property for gardening. Some people know that, some people know that. 5UO ordinance authorizing a lease between the city of Trenton and Northeast Suha for the use of vacancy in property regarding 50 Hayes Avenue. 5DO ordinance amending an ordinance continuing certain positions and salary ranges therefore and setting forth certain terms for the implementation of contracts with Trenton Fire Officers Association. Ordinance number 00-54 adopted on August 7, 2000.
Alright, Court, can we have an explanation with regards to the firefighters contract so that we're on point? With regards to Mr.
The firefighters contract,
I'm sorry. Yes, ma'am.
well, with regard to the contracts, we are in negotiation right now.
I'm sorry. Yes, we got Ms. Feynman. I can hear you.
With regard to the firefighter unions, we're in negotiation. Right now, the contract that expired.
So what is this? Is this?
This is adding a position, a Department of Personnel position, which is training officer, fire department.
This is outside of the contract?
This is a position which is being added to the table of organization. We've discussed it with the unions and
That's what, I think that's what I'm asking, is it part of the union, is this outside of the union agreement, or is this
it's
something that will be in
outside
the new
of,
contract?
it's separate and apart from.
Okay. All right.
5WO, an ordinance authorizing a lease agreement between the city of Trenton, the state of New Jersey, Department of Treasury, Division of Property Management and Construction, Office of Real Property Management, and property located at 1 Johnson, Fitchway, New Jersey, Trenton.
Mr. President, how long is this lease?
Where is it at?
Well, it's at a very prime location, I can tell you that. So then my next question would be, how does this fit into some of the plans with respect to...
This is just a lease for rooftop space to enable us to connect various buildings to our wireless network. So
Okay.
it's a 5-year lease. We're doing the lease with the state. We're not doing the lease with us.
State is on our property.
No, it's state property.
This is state property?
Yes.
You're talking about the physical building?
Right, the physical building.
Okay.
This is in the on top of the labor industry building.
Which one we did?
That's what it is. Well, it's only 5 years and
That's a lot of time.
it's a very high point at which we can communicate between buildings.
Mr. President,
Mr. King, yes, ma'am.
for the record, the docket on Thursday, roll call,
This item right here, this last item?
the docket.
Yeah, this last item you're talking about?
Docket.
I don't understand what you mean, this document.
The docket. Roll call.
I don't see what you're looking for. Okay. For the record.
The agenda, 5, excellent resolution awarding a contract to the competitive contract in the process of large dock software solutions for Park, New Jersey, to provide document scanning, and document management software and online zoning, scanning services for the Department of Administration, Tax Office, Customs Office, Water and Sewer Department.
Mr. President, if I may,
Yes, ma'am, Mr. Malone.
not that this needs to be taken immediately into consideration, but as I stated before, it's great that we're moving forward in the computer age and scanning documents and less paper trail that we have. The clerk's office is definitely an office in need of scanning of documents. We should look in the future at possibly contracting out for the archives that we have and scanning those documents. And also for council's preparation. Again, I preach the need for these packages that we make for the media and the council members. It could all be done via email or via CD-ROM. A CD disk would be sufficient rather than the clerk's office continually having to make packets. Now, all council members are using computers. I know at one time we had a problem where council members were not using computers and did not know how to operate computers, and now since we all do, I believe, we should look at doing that. So for the future, I would like us to begin to look at that.
Mr. President,
Yes, Mr. King, yes, ma'am.
for the record, some of the stuff in the clerk's office may have detention schedule by state law that wouldn't
I was
allow.
going to say, I think some of that stuff you gotta just hold
The
on to.
original, there always has to
But
be
he said,
original,
yeah, but you can still scan it.
Exactly.
You can scan it all you want, but you still gotta hold a piece of paper.
Right, yes, the signatures have to be original. Just like even in the tax assessor's office and tax collector's office.
Yes, ma'am.
5YR, resolution authorizing the city of Trenton to apply for and accept grant money $70,000 from the United States Institute of Development Administration. United States grant to execute the grant dollars.
Mr. Talking about, Ms. Haynes, anything else, left on your desk for the record?
Sugar-free.
Is that it? Ms. Haynes?
I don't think the one that's on sugar-free.
You have anything else? All right, send no other information with the motion, the portion of the meeting is reserved for public comment.
There you go.
Motion to go into public comment.
Motion, Mr. President.
And second, all in favor? Okay, start from my left and work all the way around to my right. Anyone to my left, starting your top, please, just counsel. Going down arm. Anyone on my left, immediate right. Anyone coming back around? Yes, ma'am.
Okay, am I the only
Yes,
one?
sir. Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Please state your name and address for the record, please. Thank you.
Oh, were you first, Jackie? Oh, okay. Patricia Stewart,
Excuse
6-7...
me one second, sir. Excuse
Oh,
me.
I'm sorry.
Excuse me one second.
Oh, sorry.
Okay. Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
What are we doing? Patricia Stewart, 679 Lamberton Street, Trenton, New Jersey. A couple of things, Mr. President. First of all, I'd like to compliment Mr. Pucciati on the speed with which he set up another quality of life hearing in the South Ward. It was requested, I believe, on a Monday, and he had set it up by Wednesday. One question, though, with the Department of Inspections, I'm under the impression that some sort of a new master plan is coming out of the Department of Inspections. Do I have the correct information, or... No? Nobody?
That's, pardon me?
No?
You said you're under the impression that...
The Department of Inspections is doing some kind of a new master plan. I got that wrong? Okay.
No, I'm not saying you got it wrong.
Oh, it happened.
The officials have been presented to us.
Yeah.
I know we've given them a number of concerns that we've asked them to address, and come back with us in a timely manner with a presentation to that, so...
Okay.
With regards to the master plan, I don't...
Oh, so we're still waiting for the presentation, the questions to be addressed. Okay, fair enough.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, the other thing, last Saturday, the members of the Zoning Board of Adjustment attended a state-mandated zoning training course held at Lawrence High School, which I understand the city paid $185 per member. Okay, biggest waste of time, of useless, absolutely useless.
You're saying that the city shouldn't have paid for the
Exactly. We should not have been sent there. It was a waste of time.
You said it was mandated, though, right?
Yes.
Was it mandated by what? The
Department of Community Affairs.
Community Affairs? Okay.
Yeah. We could have learned more if we sat down with Zoning Officer Buki for a few hours and asked questions. First of all, it was held in the Lawrence High School cafeteria. There was no microphone for some reason, so we couldn't hear half of what was said. What we could hear dealt with planning, not zoning. The only thing that I did learn that I didn't know is that if I live within 200 feet of a property requesting a variance, I must recuse myself. And that was it. The city has better things to do with money. If we have to be trained, and I have nothing against training, Mr. President, but let's make sure it's valuable, it's not a waste of city money. That was somewhat horrible. The rest of it, I think I'll wait until Thursday.
Thank you, Mr. Anyone else from my media right? Yes, ma'am. Ms. Blakely, yes, ma'am. Please state your name and address for the record, please.
Jackie Blakely, 16 Pearl Street, New Jersey.
Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
I'm really concerned about several issues. I mean, we try to fix things that aren't broken, and we don't fix things that are broken. Something needs to give. And I'm speaking basically about the one thing that's not broken is the librarian. I mean, the guy, Mr. Hughes, he sat here, I was here. The presentation that he gave was awesome. And now I read in the paper he's going, or he's gone. I mean, maybe he really wasn't going to do it, or maybe somebody didn't think he was going to do it, or maybe he wasn't getting it done.
But somebody should have looked into why it's leaving. The man had some awesome ideas. And what I've heard is that he just did not get the support that he needed to move forward with his ideas. Now I'm wondering if this is a young man, what is the age group of the people that are on that board? You know, sometimes you get old folks that don't want to change.
That's a discriminatory question, that's great. That's a discriminatory question.
Well,
you can't ask the qualifications of an individual based on age.
okay, well, the thing is, let's do this. And I know I'm old, but I do like changes, okay? But there are some older folks that don't want change, won't accept change, and won't go for change, okay? Let's face it, nowadays things got to change. They're not the way they used to be back when we were kids. So we have to change, and we got to look at where the change needs to come from. And if someone is initiating some change that's going to be beneficial to our children and everybody else that uses the library, I'm not one of them. But the things that he brought out, to me, in my opinion, were excellent. And for us to lose him so soon is just unacceptable to me. And it should be to a lot of the people that were here, heard what he had to say, and thought what he had to say was good ideas and good initiatives. The other thing that's broken that we don't fix, and I bring it up again to see if you've done anything about it, and that's Mr. Barry.
Mr. Barry.
And his money,
God bless you.
and his
Thank you.
car,
Oh,
and his office.
Barry College Show.
Right. And the fact that he doesn't live in Trenton, is the law different for different people? I thought that if you were hired by the city, you had to live in the city for a certain period of time, or doesn't that go for consultants? Doesn't that mean for consultants? I mean, to me, you're still being employed by the city. Our tax dollars are still paying that salary. And I want to know, how long does it take him to get from the shore to Trenton if we have an emergency where he's needed? Because I've been told that he has a car because we want to have him available to us on a short-time basis. So those are questions that I would like to have answered.
Would you like to respond?
I think the only question I'm recalling here is you asked if,
Well, first one, I think you talked about whether a contractor or a consultant had to live in the city. No is the answer to that question. No. I think the first question you made mention to, does a contractor and or a consultant, are they required to live within, comply to the residency rules of the city? And I think no is the answer to that question.
Well, it needs to change.
Well, does that mean anyone who did any work in the city would live in the city? That's exactly what that
Well,
would mean.
if this man is going to be working for the city for a long period of time, and it looks like we're going to have that gang problem for a long period of time, then something needs to change. I'm sorry.
Anyone else? I'm sorry, yes, sir, Ms. Koski.
It's a pleasure. I'd like to ask you if we could invite Scott Hughes for an exit interview.
For an exit interview? Why would we interview Scott Hughes for an exit interview?
I'd like to hear his special library system. If he's willing to give it, why he left, what the problems were.
That's right.
He was very impressive. I think each of us said that. I'm sad to see that he's leaving. And if there's something broke there, I think it's best if we look at it and try to fix it. And he may not be able to do that.
I don't understand. Where did you make that public library board? How does that fall under the city?
it's a 7-member board that's appointed by the mayor. It's an autonomous library system. And Mr. Hughes is hired by the library board, not by the city council.
So he works for the library
He
board?
works for the library board.
Yes, sir, Mr. Segura.
Mr. President, and are we talking about that board was the one that didn't give him the support that he needed?
All I heard was an insinuation that, that someone was over on the board and perhaps the board needed to change. And that's not the information that I know necessarily. I was just
No, because it is a very sad scenario, as I hear this, that this guy is leaving. I think that we've seen at least two or three library directors come through here. And none of them were as impressive as this gentleman was. And it's sad to see that type of talent that we need so much to be like that, especially when the allegations are that we in the city that reported a gentleman like that, that type of talent. That's sad, very sad.
Well, again, I think we're making insinuations.
No. No. I'm not. I'm just saying, for the information being provided, or the comments that he didn't have the support that he needed, to proudly state. So,
I guess I didn't see that. I guess my question is, where did that come from? What was the allegation made that he did not receive any support? One second. Sure.
No, I'm sorry.
Yes, ma'am.
President, more than that, if I may, Mrs. Gore, we might want to have some conversations with the library for a number of reasons. It might be time to just take a look. Although there are autonomies in matters except affecting the city as a whole. So, with respect to that, we might want to have the board in for a session, a working session, Mr. President, to discuss, what their agenda is and what they're planning on organizing.
They've come before. I mean, that's not
Why is he so reluctant?
Why
is he so reluctant?
We're inviting them.
You hear it in his voice?
Find out
Ask him.
why the executive director left, or you invited them to find out what their...
I'm inviting them, Mr. President, very clearly to support my councilman here that we understand what their agenda is for the library board.
Okay.
I don't want to deal, as I previously said, with anything personal. I want to deal with the issues that affect me as a city resident, and that's the library, because I do use it. So I'd like to hear from the board as to where they're going, what their plans are, where they're going, and that'll give us some indication of what the problem is, if there is any.
I'm sorry, Mr. Yes, sir.
Mr. President, I'd like to have Mr. Hughes to come in and give an extra review. When I asked the question, how long would you plan on being here? And he said, when I'm done, and I got the call from the paper to say, hey, so this guy's not even halfway done. I'd like to find out what was his plans and what could we suggest to his body to assist the next person, his predecessor that they come in. His successor that they come in. And also like to just dovetail with my colleagues and also perhaps have the library board to come in also and find out what's going on and what is their vision and how much of a role, because the bottom line is when budget time, we, this governing body, we divert some of the taxpayer money to the library. And that's one of our dues, and that we just, hidden dues, and we should find out just what's going on there, if there's anything that we can do as a body to assist them to run better and more efficient and effective. And the next person, we can assist them, the next director, and I think we should do it self.
I think you're on point with regards to sending an invitation to the library board to discuss any goals, operations, mission, and what they're involved with. That's right on point. I don't know. I question, and again, it's Councilor Prerogative, I question necessarily an individual's personnel reasons for perhaps why he or she decided to take a job elsewhere versus staying here, and for whatever reasons he or she may have left. The individual did not work for us. Work for the city, yes, but did not report or work for us.
But we extend that courtesy when he came, and we talked about his vision. So at least we can extend the courtesy to find out his opinion, how the library can improve. It's just an exhibition.
Well, I thought he did that very well when he came here.
Well, maybe he saw things that we could share with his family. Yeah. That was before. This is now. That was now.
Good morning.
I support that request. But also with the invitation for the board to be present.
Mr. Locker, you have some news to this?
Yeah, keeping in mind that it was not truly an accident, it was not an employee of the board, was not. It's a council. Now, there's nothing wrong with asking that individual to come as a private citizen and discuss whatever they want to discuss in public session. But it would not be appropriate to call it a hostile interview.
Extend an invitation
It's
to...
okay, we can call it that then.
If he chooses to come and you choose to invite him to discuss whatever you want him to discuss, but it's clearly not an exit interview.
Okay.
I don't think we want to do
I stand corrected.
I mean, it is clearly, the library board is an autonomous body. There's statutory obligations that you have to contribute money to that board. And really, I mean, legally, that's where the obligation is. You must contribute so much money to the board, and then the board runs.
You sound like my son.
Some of the concept.
Call it a swan song.
Yes, sir, Mr. Segura.
This is a very dumb question, but how do these
There are no dumb questions.
how do these boards
Let's see how
become,
close this is, right?
how do these boards become autonomous?
The statute
Or is it statute?
creates.
It's like statute?
Yes.
Okay.
It's the same as.
The Supreme Court, huh?
And there are many autonomous boards.
I see,
I
okay.
mean, truly, your own zoning board, to the extent of its actions, is autonomous. Then you can review what they do, but they are autonomous in taking their actions.
Thank you, sir.
Mr. Wall, I keep saying, well, almost I keep saying your hands up. Did you?
No, I did not. I already made my comments. Thank you.
Ms. Bain?
Yeah.
My request.
Just that, I was the appointment, Scott Hughes coming before the public, that, everyone to share that I'm sure we always say that our friends too, came on board, and I know certainly I did, we got, hired, thought I had a good enough dialogue, and we could have shared it together, took another job and moved on, and his dad was certainly he could move forward from that point. City can attract, more new talent, new fresh talent for the library board. And I am concerned with the library board, with the library in whole, that it didn't have a strategic plan. Which will have, we don't have some kind of direction, we will go around the system. This may have been just a, misunderstanding of expectations, if you don't have a strategic plan. So, I would suggest the library board come in and talk to us about what the mission plans are. Because I know not only do they share, Scott Hughes, the executive director, but also gives board to long-time assistant level. So, there's no leadership of the development of it, so that is crucial.
Well, I'll share with you, I had some of the conversations the same day that I found out here at the council, and it was expressed to me that, by the time we wanted to get an opportunity. Now, unless someone knows something to the contrary, I hadn't heard it publicly yet, but it probably does make sense to be in the library, just for review, and see where they're going from there. I think that's a fair question. So, we'll make that invitation. I'm sorry, yes, sir, Ms. Costin.
I'd like to get a list of the appointees on the library board.
Council with the list of appointees. Let me just make sure, just grab those things down. List of appointees to the Trenton Library Board. And or the statute, statutes. And budgetary information, something good.
And the date of the appointment.
Well, that would be part of the information.
I'll make a motion to extend an invitation to private citizen Scott Hughes to give us his thoughts on the Trenton Public Library system. Second.
Can you like that?
Yes.
Mr. President,
Yes, ma'am.
although I'd like to support my council members without reservation, understanding the law and the autonomy of the board is difficult because I know it's a personal practice. So in that respect, I have to stand.
Yes.
Most definitely.
No.
What's the thing?
They got something to hide. That doesn't make any sense. But what is that? They're acting like they have something to hide. I'm gonna let them know.
I say no. People work in the city and leave the city all the time. I don't want to get into anything that I think is potentially explosive. I think it's purely subjective on his, get various viewpoints here. Obviously, there's a board, and that's what the board is charged with, and that its function to have oversight over its employees. And what will come out, will come out. But with regards to that we extend an invitation to members of the board and the board leadership as well.
Mr. President, fans want to make that motion to put the invitation to the...
Well, I mean, I'm sure they'll come. I'm sure they'll be more than come. It's never been made of a motion. They want to request that. As Mr. Hughes expressed special interest specifically to you that he wanted to come before us. And you just saying to him that you want him to come before us. That he wanted to come before council?
Yes. I'm sorry. We just give his view about the vision of the library, how the library can be improved. And it sounds all like a positive thing.
And the maybe I should back up then with regards to the presentation that he gave us. Well, you didn't take that in any... It's fine, it will invite him.
It was over 100
What is he doing with this?
You know, it's getting that one. All right.
I got to get away with something.
You got it. You'll be much glad, man. I can't do all that. No problem. Okay. Okay, let's move forward then. Anyone else who should be here? Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir, Mr. White. Please state your name and address for the record.
My name is Bo White. I live at 108 Queensboro Avenue.
Yes, sir.
New Jersey. I am now a former taxi inspector in the city of Trenton. And I had some concerns about the matter in which I was dismissed from the city, and I would like to seek advice from council on that issue.
Mr. White, for the record, let me just say this for the record. I hear you, and I am aware of your correspondence with the council has been made aware of the written correspondence. As a matter of record, we don't discuss personal matters publicly or any matters that would be pertaining to me directly without offering you that courtesy and without having all information in front of us at this time. So you are more than welcome to make any comments that you want, but I will then advise council certainly on the legal. Council has already told us that we should be bringing in response to personal matters.
I don't want to respond, but I want to ask that we prepare for the hearing for the hearing is that council will hear in executive session some of the information that we received.
Well, there's procedures to that. But, I'm sorry, you still have the floor. Was anything else?
Thank you.
Yeah, yes, ma'am.
That's it.
So that's basically on the floor. Is there a setting in which it would be possible to examine an executive session? Is that possible?
Well, let me assure you this. We can discuss with the city attorney and special counsel as to any relevant information with regards to your personal situation. I think that's the best that I can say. I don't know all the procedures. I don't know all the, and I assume members don't know all the procedures as well. Okay.
Well, I appreciate the conversation for that.
Okay, thank you. Yes, sir.
Yes, hi.
Address for the record.
137 Center Street, Paul Harris. I wanted to say first, standing back here, just observation, it seems as if that there was something to hide about this library director stepping down, just observation. I think if more institutions took the effort to interview those people who left their institutions, I think they'd be better off for politics. I think he may have something to say. Also, politically, I think if someone else does get to him and interviews him and says, why did you leave? If this is a promising young man who had great vision, why did he leave? Someone may get to him before, and then there's an article in the paper with regards to the politics of the board. And that's what my response is. Now, it may not be true, but standing back here, the response that I'm seeing to the simple suggestion of having this young man, this brother come in, it seems as if it's being pushed off because something is known or something's being hidden. That's just my observation. And I think it would do us good to have him come in. And with regards to autonomy, with interdependence, I don't think there's anything such as autonomy anyway. If you're approving the budget and the mayor's appointing the
the people who are on this board, there's no such thing, which means you have great influence in what they can and cannot do. That's how I see it. If the mayor's appointing and you're writing the budget for them, then you have a say in what's going on. But I think he should come in, because he may have something to say about the politics of it.
Thank you, sir. Is anyone else wishing to be heard? You're up. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, I'm sorry.
Kathy McBride. I live in the West Ward of Trenton. The question that I wanted to ask was, I wanted to ask two questions. The first question is in reference to the issue that about Mr. Starkey being invited to the executive session and coming in, and we never, as the community, we never received any expert advice as to what can happen with the water department as far as a chemist explaining to the community if Mr. Starkey did urinate in an inappropriate place, what could actually go wrong with the water. We only heard from Mr. Jackson. We did not hear from someone that specializes, a chemist, for example. I was looking up some viruses online, and I learned that the human papillomavirus is not detected by chlorine. But I'm not a specialist in that field, and I needed to know from someone that specializes in that field what could go wrong if someone urinated in the water and had a virus that's not picked up by the chlorine. What type of security is being taken to secure our water filtration plant? What is being done with those cameras over there at the reservoir? Is there someone somewhere else? You see the cameras rolling, but is there monitors for those cameras, or are those cameras just sitting there and catch the person in the act, but the act has already been committed and they will get him later? You know, where is the answers at? I have not heard any clear answers in reference to that filtration plant, and I, as a citizen, I want to hear from a specialist, from somebody from environmental protection, telling me, okay, you know what, Mrs. McBride, you are safe. If somebody has papillomavirus, the chlorine will pick it up. This is what the chlorine can do. This is what it can't do. Not from Mr. Jackson. And the second thing is, I wanted to ask the question to be clear on this gentleman's question. Is he going to be allowed to speak in the executive session, or is that just for the council itself, or will he be allowed to speak? The gentleman, the young, yes. Well, I wasn't clear on that answer. That's why.
The answer that I gave him, that we will review the information and we'll get back to him.
Oh, okay.
That's what we're doing.
All right.
And I talked to the council.
Oh, okay. I wasn't clear on that. But
let's go to you first question. Mr. Jackson, although Mr. McBride doesn't want to hear from you after the voice, I'd like to hear from you for the record with regards to any actions or safeguards at the water filtration plant as it pertains to the related incident. And the safety mechanisms.
As I stated to the council, I think on two previous occasions, we treat in excess of 45 million gallons of water per day.
Break that down, treatment
through a multi-tiered process. From the time that we bring water in from our source system, which is the Delaware, into our pre-treatment side of the house, which is where we do a lot of the pre-treatment with a lot of different variations of disinfectants using various chemicals. I don't want to get into each of those chemicals. That's one process. Then there's another process that we call the second half of the pre-treatment process, where we treat the water again once we bring it into our filter bed. We treat the water at that point, disinfect it again at that point, chlorinate it again at that point, send it out to the reservoir in most cases. Then it sits there for a while till we draw down on it. We treat it again before it comes out of that holding system, various times, then it goes into our distribution system. I can assure this council, again, while it did not happen, as alleged, if it had, keyword if, there would be no way, no kind of way that I can assure you wholly that it would have gotten into the end point where we use that system of water. It would have been purified, cleaned, and disinfected multiple times over before it got to any household.
Straightforward question is, was I would have ever compromised,
And
painted or
again,
compromised?
the answer again, for the record, is clearly no.
Based on these treatments and
That's
systems
correct.
that are in place, that are multi-tiered?
And based on the investigation that it never directly got into the water at all. That was erroneous information. So I'm talking to you on a hypothetical if it had, but the facts reveal that it had not.
Are there any secondary measures that you would take if at any time you would have to go to an outside consultant or chemist or whomever to test the water? What systems are
No,
there?
sir, there would not be. If there were to be anything done, there are regulatory agencies that I'm not going to name who would have gladly stepped forward and asked us and had us do some precautionary things. That was not required, nor was it asked. And this is unsubstantiated, and we're going through these measures, which I appreciate, to assure the public and to assure this body. But the water system was never compromised. Thus, there's no investigative measure to do for the quality of the water.
Ms. Ortega, yes, ma'am. She asked her, I'm sorry. Followed by Mr. Ted and Mr. Segura.
I'd just like to add, as a owner of a swimming pool,
You want to speak up?
that, I understand some of the concerns that might present on something like that, but imagine how many people will be sick and or dead based on swimming in a swimming pool when you ingest the water. I mean, I have to mentally feel safe myself, you know, when we talk about water and drinking water and things of that nature, but just think like that. And a regular pool doesn't have the chlorination process for water filtration function. So I mean, I'm just hoping to put this to bed and provide some measure of comfort as it relates to a possible alleged compromise. That it's just as simple as being in a swimming pool. If chlorination in a swimming pool didn't take care of it, we'd have rashes, we'd have all kinds of diseases, because even if it didn't get in your mouth, it gets into ways that can be penetrating your eyes, you know, your ears, you know, you ingest some water in a swimming pool, whether you know it or not, a lot of people pee in it. Not in mine. I have this red thing that you put in the water that as soon as it hits, you know. Come on, Gino, let's go. So, I mean, really, all jokes aside, you know, it is something to be, when you think about it, it can be disturbing, but it in fact happens more often than you know. I'm glad to hear that it did not in fact happen, but I don't think anybody's concerns with respect to that are out of line.
Mr. Ted followed by Mr. Segura.
No, I think it was Mr. Segura, I didn't think so.
My apology. Mr. Segura followed by Mr.
Thank you,
Segura.
Mr. President. Mr. Jackson,
Yes, sir.
as far as, you know, when the this proceeding went on, I wasn't here, I was not present. All I have, you know, is read the comments in the newspapers on his whole thing. Now, you know for a fact that it was confirmed that this guy did not urinate inside. It didn't go inside the water, right?
That's correct.
So that is confirmed.
Yes,
That's
sir.
a fact. All right. Now, this process that you're talking about, you know, the process thank you, Jen. The pre-treatment that you go through, how often do you do that?
How often does that
Yes,
process
how
take
often
place?
does that process?
Every day, 24 hours a day, continuous operation.
Every day,
24 hours a day, every single day of the week.
twice.
24 hours a day, 7 days
No,
a week.
I'm talking about, no, because you talk about 2 treatments.
That process is a continual
Oh, it's a
process.
continuation.
It's a continual process.
I see.
How many hours a day?
24 hours a day.
24 hours a day. Only time we do not pre-treat is when we cease bringing water into the plant. When we're bringing water into the plant, that process is ongoing.
So then that means that we don't have no risk whatsoever due to the fact that is 24/7.
Exactly.
There's always a risk.
Well, I mean, you know,
On compromise.
To the extent that you're asking the question, we bring the water in and we continuously treat it while we bring it in from the source, which is the Delaware. And to be specific, there is no risk.
so is it possible then, you know, to have maybe a third proceeding so that.
Can I respond to this one? I think I get what you're asking.
I mean, we're going on a third procedure
I can,
to actually make sure.
Let's do this. I don't want to make light of a serious subject. I honestly don't. I mean, if in fact the water was not tainted, it's not tainted. Let's be honest with that. If there's questions with regards to the systems in place, I think that's what Mr. Segura is asking. And it runs 24 hours, 7 days a week. And what other questions we did?
I'm saying, that if there's still, a question mark and, I don't feel too safe, even though, what Mr. Jackson is declaring, then, what can we do? What's next?
I agree. I agree with you to that. That's why I said the system can be compromised at any given time.
Exactly.
But we don't believe that we have employees or anyone, we have safeguards in place, and or that has not happened. And in my experience, that has not happened in 12, 13 years I know we've been on council.
and advance that. That's correct.
And we've only advanced the technology.
That's how I was going to respond to the question that Councilman asked. This council approved a resolution allowing me to put out to bid a $54 million improvement process for the treatment plant. It will enhance the technology that's now new in the industry to bring a higher standard to the way we now process water. Notwithstanding, the standards that we use now exceed the DEP quality. We just take it to a higher level to make our pre-treatment process better than it is.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome, sir.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank you, Mr. President.
President. Yes, sir.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. Jackson.
Yes, sir.
The money that out of that $50 million, nothing was appropriated for security, such as cameras or anything of that nature. At this time, do you see is there a need for anything regarding security, any equipment, cameras, anything of that nature?
You asked the question, I think I was answering the same question. Within that allotted money that we're doing the upgrade now, there is money in there specifically for additional cameras, monitoring, and additional security system within the plant.
Okay. Yes. And so when is the deadline, or when will this be implemented?
We're on the precipice of beginning right now, and it's a 36-month project if all goes well.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Jackson. Anyone else? Anyone else show hands? What's your word to close this section? Civic matters. Mr. Davis.
Yes, sir. Mr. President, I'd like to know what date is the superintendent scheduled to appear before this council?
I've spoken to the superintendent, and we've talked about having him here. We have not scheduled the date yet, but we can do that. We can do that within one of the off Tuesdays of this month. I mean, I think specifically you asked what we'd like to have him address, just for the record. I mean, should I? What issue specifically did you want to address so that at least he has an idea? Well, I got you, Mr. Gibbons.
And the other thing is...
No, I'm saying, were there specific issues?
Yeah, one, on the budget, the school budget come before this council.
Mr. Segura, you want to answer that question?
Go ahead, sir.
The Board of School Estimate met last Thursday and passed the... Oh, I haven't seen it. I got it. Passed the $282 million budget that should be coming forth this party month. Did you get that?
No.
I guess the board hasn't, unless they have to go before their board again, but it hasn't come officially to us. But we asked, I will assure you this, if you see all the tape, Mr. Segura asked many passionate questions regarding security, training, police. We talked about communities being able to utilize the schools and so forth. So I mean, with regard to policy and the budget, I think we covered a number of questions that went along with that. So
the point I'm trying to make, Mr. President, I would like to put a superintendent here before this council, before we vote on the school budget.
okay. That's fine. I have no problem with it. Is there any questions that you want to ask?
Not at this time.
Okay.
Not at this time. I just want to come and explain the budget to us. Like the mayor, he comes and explain his budget before we present it to the council. But I think the superintendent that
Well, quite frankly, that's the charge of the school board of school estimates. Certainly, I'm sure
I don't sit on the school board estimate?
I'm sure he'd be more than welcome to come up here and explain his budget. To this body.
Okay, I would appreciate that, sir.
Mr. T, you want to add on top of this today?
No, he's going to explain a little bit more than his budget for you, Mr. President. I want to know what his security plan is from the time he was here until this time, number one. And number two is, I'd like him to go over again how his administrators are trained. They're taught, they're there, the principals, for example, to administer and do the work of the administration. And that is security, ensuring the teachers have everything they need, that kind of thing. Now I'm getting complaints about a lot of things, both lack of security, lack of visibility, da-da-da-da-da-da. So I have a litany of issues that I'd like to discuss, and it will not simply be limited to the budget.
I'm sure, but I like to put something so they'll have an idea what to do.
Yes, sir.
They'll know just in case.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
I'm finished, Mr. President.
Okay, Ms. Costa, yes, sir.
Mr. President, we're going to talk about the city clerk position from the near future.
We're still within time until we doing the,
What is the contract?
we were just finishing the first 30 days. But I'm not, well, you know what? Let me back up. Let me this is a good question. Because the questions that I have been asking that I haven't gotten an answer to, everyone kept saying March 1st. But I know I've asked this of the clerk. Actually, clerk, when was the official retirement date? Okay, so, do you have any more information?
Well, there are two different things. There's when the board approves his retirement, and when he leaves his position. And my understanding is that he has not resigned this position.
Okay. Fine, Mr. Costa, yes, sir. Pardon me? I don't profess to know why Mr. Costa has not come back.
I wanted to ask Dr. Greenwald about the spring home development. The city has that property from the housing authority.
Spring homes, yes.
How's that going?
It's going well. We are before we've been in discussions with them concerning their site, their design, the developer, and they will be resubmitting their plans for final site approval.
I also want to ask Assistant Business Administrator, I know we're going to have a workshop on the retail, but I just want to say we have a debt payment this month. Is that right? This month? Okay.
Well, we, as a city, don't have any debt payments.
Okay.
Well, if the question is whether the hotel has a debt payment, the answer is no.
Okay. I also want to ask how close we were to having some inspection ordinances or amended ordinances coming forth.
I think last conversation we had, Ms. Haynes, you were reviewing the proposal for any edits or
Well, let me just say
changes?
for the record, I'm prepared to set a date with you, I just want to discuss it with you
What discuss it?
after the session.
Yes, sir, Ms. Costa.
Welcome as well. And Mr. President, 9 weeks since I asked for some date on open positions, how long has been open, salary ranges, 9 weeks.
You vacated the meeting last time, so you didn't pick up the
Oh, you
information
have it, excellent. Well,
that
thank
was
you,
sitting
Mr. President.
right here on my desk.
We'll roll back to 7 then, thank you.
No, you're not roll back, you just didn't get it because you're
No,
not ready.
it was ready.
As a matter of fact, I thought you might want...
That's on my part.
I thought you might want the members of the council to have pretty much the same information. So,
Thank you, Mr. President.
you're welcome. You still have the floor, sir.
I'm not a true Trentonian, I've been told, so I will have to admit that I am pulling from my lady volunteers from the University of Tennessee tonight. With all due respect to my Rutgers colleagues, had it not been the volunteers, I wouldn't have pulling for Rutgers.
We need to go back to the
That's probably in the works. Thank you, Mr. President.
I think you're not going on with record, man. Come on.
Okay, that's it. 3 minutes, Councilman?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. President.
That is it.
That is it.
Okay. You sure that's it?
Well, I think about that. Yes, sir.
I want to give you an opportunity to say everything you have to say.
No, I'm all for attention.
We'll read about the rest of it.
Mr. President, I have come before the board on a number of occasions asking that we prepare something to send to the state for support. And as of this date, April 3rd, I have a law review request that I'm sure is going to take some research and time, but what it relates to is any person within the city of Trenton in possession of a firearm, and I've defined it below, and or ammunition that has not legally registered to them, will automatically be charged with intent for unlawful purposes and be given a mandatory sentence of 10 years. If the actor, that would be the perpetrator of an illegal handgun, has no previous record and has not committed any other offense not yet recorded, the perpetrator, adult or juvenile, will be sentenced to 5 to 10 years mandatory military service, the completion of a college degree, or vocational training and ongoing mental health counseling and compliance if necessary. Now, I ask for this, Mr. President, because we cannot continue to lock people up and think that we're rehabilitating them. What we're doing is producing a more educated and able criminal when they come out of the system. I am hoping that if somebody doesn't have a violation of any manner and is caught for the first time, that we will attempt to actually do some rehabilitation, because it's not going to get better. And if the local body, we're suffering here in the city, as are other cities across the country, we have to take a stand. And I don't know, Mr. Lockwell has not had the opportunity yet, but I'm hoping that it'll be crafted in a manner that will put us in a position to rehabilitate people before they get to the jailhouse. Prevent the person from being exposed to that atmosphere or the ambiance of jail, which is actually criminal in and of itself, and try to rehabilitate them. We do many things by doing that. We help break the cycle of poverty, which is one of Ms. Stewart's campaign issues, and we begin to actually perform some real service to people in the community who have not actually yet committed a crime. Just something to look at and review.
Can I ask you a question with regards to the law you requested? Mr. Alonzo Harris, can you give us an opportunity? There's some questions that I have.
And I'm hoping
that I would want to ask,
yes.
Because there's some strong opinions with regards to the laws involving
yes.
crimes involving firearms. And this may even be a position where you can borrow the comedian Chris Rock's opinion, where he specifies guns don't kill people, ammunition kills people. Maybe you did something on the ammunition. Well, ammunition is actually what kills people out of guns. If you look at taxing that or trying to do something to make dealers and or sellers responsible for the use and or sale of them. But there's some other questions I have, particularly as it relates to firearms in general, because I would dare to believe that there's some thought, first offense or no offense or multiple offenses, folks who use guns for crimes should be put away for extensive periods of time. And I don't want to get back to the thing, but I hear what you're saying, because I think it's a good proposal. But I think we're going to craft it and have everything that we can put into it before sending it to like the Senate Law Committee or to our legislators and asking them to push this thing.
So that's exactly what I'm hoping for, Mr. President. And here's what we know for sure. That just saying no and the current gun laws aren't working. They're not working. And you're right, people do kill people. Using the ammunition from the gun. But we have to begin somewhere. And I would venture to say I would much rather see a young kid who's been put in a position where he feels like he has no choice, by being pushed into gangs or gang membership or something of that nature, being given the opportunity to go and get a college degree, be it mandated, counseling, join the military if they so desire, but so that they have some options other than jail. It's not working. And what happens is, those same people that we send to jail to rehabilitate, they come back out here and perpetuate in a much bigger way what we send them away for before. So I'm just asking that the entire council, join me in this and preparing to craft something for the folks down on West State Street. We got to send our message from this council. It's time to do something different.
Councilwoman, what have you prepared so far?
Just simply some basic information. I defined firearms for you and just added some things about vocational training, ongoing mental health counseling, and compliance. Because a lot of times the court will order somebody to mental health treatment and not add compliance to it. Well, heck, you know, you've been before. They've been before. Everybody's been before, I guess. I don't know. Should be. Anyway, moving right along. Moving right along. Mental illness is a serious issue that perpetuates itself in our community. And we are less prepared to deal with it now than we were before, in spite of all of the good agencies that are involved. NAMI is phenomenal. Having worked at welfare, I've had exposure. And know that if we don't do something different, it's going to get worse. This is going to become an absolutely lawless society. In that, when you send them to jail, after somebody's been beaten and raped and made to conform to the jailhouse rock, then you want them to come out here and be normal. And I say to you, how do you take an 18, 19, they want to try our kids as adults. 21-year-old, send them to jail, let them get beat up, raped, and come back out here and say, then you better be normal or you're going back to jail. What do you think is going to happen? They're going back to jail.
That's right.
Without a doubt, because here's what happens with the jailhouse veteran. They're not going to get a job, at least for 10 or 15 years. They're not. And if they get a job, they're not going to be fully self-sufficient because the job that they're going to be able to get possibly won't support them. So if we're talking about real reform, I think we ought to take the lead on it. And I think not only take the lead on it, but prepare a real package that talks about if a kid don't have a violent past and he hasn't committed any crimes. See, usually guns used to be a mandatory 5. Now they're let me say something wrong. They're knocking that down now, right? Yeah, they are. They'll give them 2 years. They'll give them 3 years. I don't want my kid in jail. I don't want his kid in jail. I don't want your kid in jail if we can prevent it. Because you're building a criminal. You're taking away a chance that a kid might have. And I know some of us think we're perfect, and we come from pristine backgrounds, and we have all the right stuff. But let me tell you something. If you don't deal with it, it's coming to a household near you soon. In your house.
That's right.
You understand? That's what's happening out here. Let's be realistic about it. That's what I'm saying. You know, we've talked about it. We've done some good work in partnership with the mayor on the re-entry program, and that was a big thing. But let's take it a step further and do some prevention. I'm just saying, that's my story and I'm sticking to it.
Mr. President, would I be out of line if I said something, or would you?
You know,
would you rather?
Absolutely would, Mr.
Okay.
Such a faithful council follower. This is not even a holy pulpit. This is a citizen's chair. Please say what you have to say. If you can be concise, though.
All right, I will try. Listening to Councilwoman Lartigue, I hope you all listened to her very carefully because everything she said was true. Remember all the years I spent as a probation officer? I won't go into the war stories, but many of the women I dealt with, one of their problems was they were clinically depressed. Even I could see that. Then they're raising children. They're raising children without a husband or some sort of male figure to help them. So they're raising kids who have problems. As I said, this is a problem that's a hydra. You cut off one head and 2 more grow. But everything that Councilwoman Lartigue has said, yeah, send them to jail. Oh, great, yeah, that's the perfect answer. They'll come out worse than when you sent them in. And they can't get a job because, you know, also, some of the things they're trained to do in prison, oh, we're going to teach them to be a barber. They can't get a license in New Jersey to be a barber. So that's great. You taught them how to cut hair and they can't get a job. It's things like this. It really is. It's a great problem, but please, listen to this lady. She knows what she's talking about. Okay. Thank you, Mr. President. I appreciate your indulgence. Was that close enough?
I know what I'm talking about.
Oh, yes, sir.
Nothing, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. Long. Mr. Segura, yes, sir.
Mr. President, yes, just a couple of things. I gave council, a copy of a letter that was written to me by a citizen that was attacked right in front of his home, in front of his house. He was actually almost killed because the guy took a knife and killed the guy. But the same now, there were 3 of the same scenario, right in the same area. And this guy called me, and the first thing I said is that he didn't even see the guy. There were two individuals on the way, and in three separate occasions, you know, 2, 3, and 3, that attacked three individuals within, you know, a couple of hours from this incident. It is almost the same thing that, you know, that right now, you know, Councilwoman is talking about crime. You know, I don't know the answer, really. I don't know the answer, but the fact is that it is too much. I also asked Mr. Caravelli to give a copy to council also of how these individuals were attacked again. And one person came to aid this person, and the person almost got killed. So this is happening throughout the whole city. It's not just one particular area all the time. The police, I don't know. They're trying their best, but is it enough? It's not enough. And it is the same thing, you know, with the school system. Almost the same thing. We have a transitional, you know, administrator, and we got a new one that obviously when you change something, it's for the best. Now I get all of this complaint also about the school system, and how many crimes, how many people being attacked in the school system, right in the school. Nothing is done. Everybody sweeping everything right under the rug. I asked many times. I don't know whether that's the solution or not. 4 years in council, we got to put police officers in the school, just like they have in every other municipality. And that works. I'm not going to say that that's going to correct the problem 100%, but it is. Right at 3 o'clock, you go right in front of the high school, and you could feel it in the air that at any time something is to explode, to happen. Security guards, they're totally obsolete. They do nothing in the school. I don't even know why they have it. That's why during the school estimate I asked for more training for these security guards to be trained just by the way that Mr. Santiago described right here one time. These people need to be trained, and he was willing to train. He offered to Mr. Lai when he was here. They all refused it. At the school, at the high school at that time was Priscilla Cussin. We asked her if we could, she refused. So, what is it that we're going to do, you know, for the safety of the city, for the safety of our kids in the school? What's the answer? I don't know. But we need to take a good look at this. And my last thing is, when are we going to give a decent office to our aide? You know, this gentleman is in a corner downstairs, totally dilapidated the way I see it. I went the other day to pick up some information from him, and this poor guy had paperwork all over the place on the floor, because he got no place to put his own paperwork.
You know, I'd rather answer this specifically to you and the members of the council on the side. And I've spoken to Mr. Caravelli about that.
Okay, and but I'd like to see that done, Mr. President, ASAP. You know, we need to have, not just for him, for the other person that is coming, and for us too. We're the only city council person throughout the whole state of New Jersey that don't have at least a little cubbyhole somewhere that we can meet somebody private. We should have. Huh? Well, we should. I've been asking for 5 years now, and nothing is moving on. So I want your support on this. Quick. And that's all I have, Mr. President. Thank you.
Ms. Stevens.
I have listed things. I'm not going to be real long. I actually just got a few comments. Huh?
you know, one, I have to find, nominating 5 minutes. I'm gonna tell him when he comes back. Good. I just wanted to comment on the, response / alert system citywide emergency that may unveiled on Tuesday. Unfortunately, I was unable to attend that, briefing. I wonder if there's more information that I can get on it. And, yes, just want to comment to Sam Tuesday on the parade of campus Sam is gone. That was on Saturday. That I had to give up 6-11 Little League to be at this parade of champions, but it was certainly well worth it. The kids were certainly all roads were to Donald, and the city came out in a good way to support her. Yeah, it was really nice turnout. So I'm hoping that we can do more of that for our youth. To Public Works, I had put in a request for Clinton Avenue to be paved from East State to Lincoln Avenue, and I just want to make sure that gets done. And the two of you are deacons, so I'm going to appeal to you in another way. So I want you to know I would like it from Jerusalem to Holy Cross. Okay? And
You're working on that one.
Okay, that's where I'm going to work. All right, and but the street is badly needed repairs. I wanted that. And for administration, I wanted to ask you if you would be willing to do a presentation on grants. I don't think anyone realizes just how much the city relies on grants to keep it functioning. Okay. Somebody already knows?
But if you want it one-on-one, you even got a pie chart on it.
That's true. Well, then, you know what, give it to me, because I would like to actually take that also, because I don't think residents quite understand. Sometimes they go, you know, my tax dollars to do my tax dollars to that. And it is true, but there is a large amount of grant money that was turned in here in the city. I just think that's important to know about. That's all I have to say.
Thank you, Ms. Staten. Just for the record, Ms. Staten, I'm sorry, Mr. Moore, did I find?
No, I said nothing.
I think out of 10 times I said something to you, you said nothing, and then
actually.
Yes, sir, yes.
Thanks to I forgot to mention something. It has been recommended by several people here that when council goes into executive session, in light of the public sitting here and going out, if we could move the executive sessions to the latter part of the meetings, since we are here and they have to leave the room anyway, rather than have them at the beginning of the meeting.
Thank you. I'm sorry, yes?
I was just going to ask you, so you just keep in mind, many times, if not most times, we have attorneys here on the top. In those cases,
right, possibly for that, in light of the taxpayers paying their bill, you know, we will move those at the beginning, but the ones that can wait for the latter part of the meeting, in respect to the public that we hold in that latter part.
We've done that plenty of times, for the record.
Well, we've gone into executive session upon council's request for other matters.
Right. No, but what I'm saying, for the record, we've had executive sessions at the end of meetings plenty of times, as you know.
But normally they're ones that we call.
Regardless, we catch it on both sides. At the end of the meeting, you say, let's go to executive session. It's the council hustling sometimes. Oh, man, we had executive session. So I understand. But we've done it both ways, and we'll try to...
We can be considerate with that. Also, there is one other thing I forgot to mention, and I do want to commend the administration and our planning department. I've heard from several residents within the Wilbur section that they're very pleased with the outreach in regards to the planning for the new park on East State Street. This evening there is yet another community meeting out there, meeting with the residents in that area at PJ Hill School, and the residents do appreciate being brought to the table on that large project. But I also requested that the council, once the planning division is done meeting with the community, also come before this body with a presentation on that.
That's fair.
But I do want to commend them on the outreach, because it's a substantial amount of outreach they're doing, and It's well received in the community and appreciated.
That president can give me gray hairs, you know. I've seen several styles in that president.
Trying to cover them.
Thank you, Mr. Malone. Just for closing purposes, I just want to reiterate what Mr. Staten said. It was a very good parade. Mr. Frisbee did very good for the first public parade. He had a good time. He had a very, very good time. And I had a little guy with me. He really enjoyed it. So I had to pull him back a couple times. I do want to commend Mr. Greenberg. Greenwald.
Greenberg is dead, long time ago, man. Everything you know.
Definitely. Listen, look at it this way. I call Jane, I just started calling Jane Wagner.
Don't say any last name.
Al, you ma'am. Good job with the Independence House. It was Independence House or Poplar House? The ribbon cutting for that ceremony.
Independence Way.
Independence Way, correct. Thank you for correcting me. Very good project. That was the apartment complex, Mr. Segura, Councilman Martinez, myself, and the mayor and members of the administration.
I was there earlier.
Okay, and Mr. Malone came over to the Westwood as well. My apologies. I didn't know that you were. I didn't know you were there. I didn't know you were there. Certainly, excellent project. Folks get an opportunity to see it. They have vacancies still, right? They get to take an application now?
Take applications.
Fill up and,
They have over 200 applications.
okay. And it'll be a model project for the Westwood, obviously. I want to commend the mayor as well. Apparently he must have talked to a lot of people on Saturday because my phone was ringing off the hook. Why is the mayor calling me with regards to the 911 reverse system? So that tells me that the system works.
Yes.
Because everyone I talk to, why is the mayor calling? Now the question is whether they heard what he said.
I thought it worked very well.
And I think, let me say also, I appreciate the fact that the message was bilingual. I'm saying it was in both languages as well. So with regard to that. And lastly, it's about time we have Mr. Santiago come back, the rest of Santiago. Okay, we'll give Mr. Santiago within the month, sometime maybe toward the end of the month. But I want to commend him on the diversity of this last class. They just went into the Peace Academy, and certainly it's getting hot. It's getting hot. It's getting hot. Getting hot. Lord knows it's getting hot. I do want to say that this is probably one of the most horrific months in terms of murders that took place in the city. And I understand that there are some police leads now that are starting to come about. We certainly need the public. And when you're doing your civic meetings and you're talking to folks, we need the public to get involved in, or just tell one of us, and we'll pass the information on. But I hope that we don't see another month like that. And regardless of the good kids and the bad kids, their lives are being snuffed out, and it's certainly having an impact on our community. So I would hope that our police department is remaining vigilant to that effect, and that hopefully we don't see this occur no time in the near future. With that in mind, Mr. Fair, I have
One other thing, sir, you mentioned Director Frisbee. I'd like to commend Director Frisbee and the administration for having Mr. Maurice Ashley, and I'm sure we all know
chess player, absolutely.
that grandmaster,
Oh, yeah.
the only African-American grandmaster in chess. He was at 3 schools, and he was good enough to come by P.J. Hill and play 12 students.
I heard he took names, too.
And he took names. And he talked about how chess helped him in life, and it's catching on like wildfire.
Will we be having him back for the record?
I don't know. He's coming back now.
Yeah.
At some point.
Okay.
So when he comes back, perhaps he can come and talk to us at City Council.
Or one of y'all, we'll send Mr. Kaufman play him in chess.
We took it back too But it was truly a good thing, and I'd like to thank the administration for that.
Thank you, and while you still have the floor, sir, you can
I'd
please
like
let me
to
know.
make a motion to adjourn. It's almost that time.
Can I make a motion, is there a motion for RU? RU?